video, I hope to answer a few different questions I get all the time about adding a design to your knitting. That's the easiest way I can put it. The people are usually asking me questions about Intarsia, and I think the question I get most often is, how can I add this sports logo to this hat I want to knit for my kid? You know, that's a question I get all the time. And it's kind of such a long answer that I wanted to make this video to cover it, because in Intarsia, and what I'm talking about is a blob of knitting, a blob of color in a background of another color. Again, the way I'm describing things makes it sound like there's something wrong with me, but Intarsia is very different from Fair Isle in that a color runs all the way through Fair Isle, and Fair Isle is knit in the round. So you carry two colors all the way around Fair Isle, and there are little bits of those two colors going all the way around. The difference with Intarsia is Intarsia, like I said, is a blob of color on a background of something else. And Intarsia, to get back to the question that I'm asked all the time, Intarsia doesn't work in the round. So if someone's looking to make a hat with a sports logo on it, and we're pretending this heart is a sports logo at this point, it doesn't really work, because when you're knitting in the round, you will knit up to the place where you'll start with the other color and knit across the other color and then start working in the background color. And then when you get back to the blob of color, your yarn is going to be over here when you want to start knitting over here. Now that explanation, you don't have to really understand that to understand what I'm saying. Intarsia doesn't work in the round. You can start and cut the yarn each time to make Intarsia work in the round, and I've seen some explanations of things that don't really make sense to me about working Intarsia in the round, and it's okay because I have a better answer. Duplicate stitch is the answer, and it's what I end up using for everything that would either be a flat piece of knitting with Intarsia on it, or anytime I want to add what looks like Intarsia, I end up using duplicate stitch. But I'm going to show you how to work Intarsia. In case you're curious about how it works, there's nothing wrong with it. I just prefer doing duplicate stitch. So we're going to talk about both of those things. So let's go ahead and take a look at my work. Okay, my end goal is to end up with something like this. And so I have this piece going here, and this is Intarsia. And again, there's nothing wrong with the technique. I think it's kind of a pain in the neck to work, but I'm going to show you how this goes, how to work it. I have 3 balls of yarn going right now because I have the gray over here, the pink in the middle, and the gray over here, and there has to be 3 different balls going. So I'm going to knit up to where, oh, I should show you this. This is the chart that I'm working from for the little heart, and I'll make this available on my website. If you want to click the little eye in the upper right hand corner, I will, I'll make this chart available if you want to make a little heart. I'm going to knit up to the place where I want to start using the pink yarn. And because these are essentially 2 different pieces of knitting, the pink yarn and the gray yarn, I want to connect them somehow. So I'm going to wrap the pink and the gray, twist them together so that they're kind of hanging onto each other like this. To kind of, so there's no gap in the work there. And then I'm going to knit across, tighten everything up a bit, knit across the pink until I get to the next gray piece. And again, because these 2 aren't connected in any way, I'm going to twist the gray and the pink together and then finish with the gray and tighten everything up a bit. So that's the Fair Isle technique, and you can imagine that this is a very simple example, but if you're working on something that is lots of different colors and lots of, you know, a much more complicated design than this, there's a lot of twisting going on and a lot of different balls of yarn going on at once. And that's why I like to use duplicate stitch, because there are also the last part of it. I'm trash talking Intarsia. I don't mean to. I kind of mean to. There's also such a chance of getting tension issues going between the 2 colors or 3 colors or 5 colors or whatever. I want to show you how to work duplicate stitch, which is like the easiest answer to this. So I am going to get myself some pink yarn. I'm having a tough time. I didn't have this ready. Sorry. I'm going to cut myself some pink yarn and a tapestry needle. And duplicate stitch is essentially embroidering onto your knitted work so that it looks just like knit stitches. And so I was able to knit this swatch completely plain. I knit it so quickly, just completely plain, and now I'm going to go back over and make it look like I stitched Intarsia into it. And I've already marked the stitch where I want to start. That's only to save time in the video, so you wouldn't have to watch me count. It's this stitch. So I'm coming in from back to front at the bottom of a V. That's where I want to start. This V is going to be my first stitch. Now I skip that V and go behind both legs of the stitch above it. Pull that and then go back down into the hole I just came out of. Ta-da! Look at that beautiful little stitch. It looks like I knit it in. Now I'm following this chart, so I want to go to the next stitch, which is over here. You start by going from back to front at the bottom point of the stitch that you want to put the duplicate stitch. Everything's falling apart, sorry. So I skip that stitch, go behind both legs of the stitch above it, and then back down into the same hole I came out of. Come in at the bottom of the next stitch, skip that, go behind both legs of the stitch above it, and back down. And you definitely want to watch your tension because this is decorative. If you see something that's too tight, like that, I just made that one crazy tight, you can just take your needle and loosen it up. If you see something that's too loose, you can tighten it all the way across to make it match the other stitches. Just really watch each stitch as you're doing it to make sure that it looks like the ones next to it. I have a good start here on the very bottom of the heart. So I hope you can see how easy duplicate stitch is, and you can have so many colors going. As long as you have a chart for the sports team logo or the initial or whatever you're working with, as long as you have a chart that you can work from, just getting the stitches in there and making the duplicate stitch is really easy. And for someone who just wants to knit a hat and embroider the design on after the fact, that's really the answer. I don't want to trash talk Intarsia too much because it's a valid knitting technique that people really enjoy. I just don't. So I wanted to show you this video. Anyway, good luck with this. Yeah, good luck.